got a ton of secret nerfs and secret updates on these units, including another post that the Discord mods actually just posted a few hours ago. Today we're going to be re-ranking them and having an updated tier list for you guys in case some of you are actually going to be going for these units. And in addition to that, we also have a shiny overflow event which gives us a boosted rate on shinies, which means this tier list is going to be more important than ever. And of course, this will include the latest updates with the brand new units, and including the insane update that they actually changed the Itachi to fire, or flame rather, instead of dart. Here we are in the page and we have all of these units over down here, and we will also be ranking them according to the best. So I'm actually going to change this to top 5. This is top 5 overall, and then we have meta units that could be used because they're strong at DPS. We have mid, and then we have support units. We will not be using this D tier, so we can just delete that. So let's go ahead and start off with the first unit, which is going to be Kenpachi. Kenpachi definitely still deserves to be in the top 5 units in the game despite having fallen off now. He's still extremely good because of how much raw damage he can actually do, and he also does bring a small amount of crowd control, which gives him the spot in the top 5. Next up, we have Crimson Brother. We don't even care about who this is. Let's move on. Next, we have Toymaker. I'll be ranking these other units differently later on, so make sure you guys do watch the entire thing to be very, very updated. Toymaker, I'm gonna unfortunately put it in mid. Toymaker is no longer in the meta category because she's just fallen off so bad. Literally no purpose in the game anymore. You can't even use her anywhere because of the amount of great units that the game has actually added. We have True Saint. True Saint is going to be super, super good when you just started off the game. True Saint is going to be super good if you just started the game. However, if you're more advanced, like maybe 2 days later, he's just fallen off. Next up, we have Yuta. Yuta, believe it or not, has gotten a secret nerf. Yuta used to be able to copy 3 times from the exact same unit. However, they changed that. Now you can only copy it once despite timing him. Which is why, honestly, I would rather put him in mid, but I'm going to put him in support anyway. I do not use Yuta anymore, and no pro player actually uses Yuta anymore because of how garbage he is already. And it's very situational. Yes, you can copy one Kenpachi, but what else are the other 2 gonna copy? Quite garbage already, honestly. Next up, we have Freeren. Freeren, very tempted to put in the top 5, but unfortunately, Freeren is actually going to be the top 6, so I cannot put her up here. She's going to be the number 1 in the meta category. Obviously, these ones, I'm just going to say this right now. Support units and mid units, it doesn't matter where they are just ranked the exact same. However, whichever one is the top spot over here, that's going to be the best. So for now, we have Freeren. Actually, not for now. I'm sure Freeren is going to be the best from the meta category. Next, we have Flame Emperor. Flame Emperor is just a mid-tier. Not really that great. If he gets a decent buff, then maybe he will be good. He's actually not that bad because he's a flame unit and there are only 2 flame units, which is going to be Itachi and this guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, no, I forgot. There's also Hollow. Hollow can join your brother over here in the mid category. Next, we have Lady Giant. Lady Giant has increased in my ratings. She's actually very good as a DPS on tournaments which have the Terra as the buff. So Lady Giant is definitely good in this spot. And next up we have is going to be Puppet. Puppet is going to be the next in the top 5 list. Puppet is so good with Unbound. Extremely high damage, very low placement and low cost, and also has reverse time. And also has the Puppet mark, which definitely deserves Gauther the number 5 spot. Next, we have Reaper. Nobody cares about you. You get him from Raid, but he's so garbage, really. Next up, we have is going to be Salmon Sorcerer. I'm very tempted to put on meta or support. But honestly, I'm going to put it on meta. Meta, definitely, because Salmon Sorcerer is so good everywhere. And it's basically a support unit that's a meta unit, okay? Let's put it at that. Very good unit, and is definitely a support. Well worthy of being up here in the meta category. Next up, we have String Demon, which is going to be mid-tier. String Demon's bug is still not fixed. If the bug was actually permanent, he would be up here easily in top 5. But since he is glitched, he will only be in mid because once he gets nerfed, goodbye String Demon from the meta. Next up, we have Forbidden Teacher and the Hero. Both will be support units. The Hero buffs 30% at max level for physical units, and Forbidden Teacher gives 30% buff on the mage units, or the magical ones rather. Next, we have Ice Queen, which will go on support unit. Support unit because Ice Queen will actually give you a pretty much like a time stop. It stops the enemy at its place for 2 seconds, so definitely deserving of this spot in the support. Next up, this guy is also a support unit. He is, of course, going to just chill in the support unit because all he does is slow. He basically is like a summon sorcerer, except he does more damage, has slow, and also has time stop. So that is why he is up here in the meta, and he's down here. Otherwise, they would both be beside each other down here. Next up, we have Cursed Immortal. Cursed Immortal received a nice buff, and honestly, I think Cursed Immortal deserves to be up here. People don't actually see its uses yet, aside from the pros. You can actually one-shot a lot and a lot of strong bosses, and he is very, very good for skipping waves, and that also leads me to my next point, Razor Jaw. Razor Jaw has gotten a massive buff, increasing 10% on the crit chance. Super good because if he is unbound, if you guys didn't know already, the strat to skipping waves is unbound with critical chance. Just keep restarting until he crits, and the fact that he has more crit now means he's going to crit more reliably as a unbound unit, which is why Razor Joe has to jump all the way up here. Same thing with this guy, he also got a massive buff with his damage, so he also deserves to jump ahead of these two units. Next up we have is going to be the last three, which will obviously all be in the top 5 category. Puppet is number 5. I'm gonna have to give Itachi at number 4. Itachi at number 4, obviously this is now a flame unit. It's no longer a dark because of the update. Itachi definitely deserves this number 4. However, release tournament did just come back. We are allowed to play it again, and there's like nearly like 2.63 buff on flame, I think. Which is why Itachi has to be number 1 for release tournament. But outside of release tournament, Itachi for me is still going to be number 4. Because Kenpachi does way more raw damage, and Puppet is obviously not as good as Itachi if we're talking about straight up DPS. However, Puppet is of course going to be more useful in terms of utility. And now, we have the biggest debate. Comment down below, guys, if you're still watching. Do you think Dark Mage or Megumi actually deserves to be number 1? Because in my opinion, I'm gonna have to put Megumi at number 2. As crazy as it is, I can't even put him there. There we go. Megumi has to be number 2. Megumi has reverse time, has the Mahoraga, which stuns. Tons of damage from Mahoraga, by the way. Even Megumi's base damage is extremely high. And he also summons a Winged Spirit, which does a ton of damage alongside both of the other units that come from Megumi. Megumi is super, super good. And it pains me because he was my first unbound unit on my account. But unfortunately, he has to be at number 2. Because Dark Mage is just so broken. Dark Mage is the meta for tournament. Even if you guys have nerf on the water element, he is still the best unit in the entire game. That's how ridiculous he is. Once you figure out how to use him, which is switching him to none when he goes to lightning form. He is the meta on all tournaments. Meta on every single map because he can cover nearly the entire map with his lightning form. And is counted as one of the speed run units if you guys want to hit under 2 minutes on your clears. Dark Mage, Kenpachi, and Megumi, these 3 together will do it. But with Dark Mage alone, he really cuts up a massive amount of time. Which is why this is my official list for now. You can still debate and say that Megumi is number 1 with the amount of utility. But for me, literally, because of how many places this guy is actually going to be number 1 in DPS, it's too much. And honestly, the best synergy is going to be these 2 together anyway because they are both magic damage, which means you can actually utilize Forbidden Teacher really well. And once you buff them, both of them receive the buff, so it's much better to use them both side by side. But if I had to pick one, I would rather pick Dark Mage with the amount of carry potential he actually brings me. Make sure you guys do subscribe and comment down below if you agree with this brand new tier list.